would stand, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance and then a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray with me, please. Lord, we thank you so much for the many blessings you've given us here in this life. Lord, thank you for this community that we live in and this school that we have the pleasure to serve. Lord, please be with each and every board member here tonight. Give us wisdom that everything we do might be in the best interest of the students and the faculty. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. We'll call this meeting to order. Note that we do have all board members present. We have a quorum and agenda was posted in a timely fashion. Next item is recognition of the students of the month in the conference room. The board will come around to the front.
Oh, does he? Push my chair in? You push my straight. I know it's all right, but that's not the trait that I know.
Okay, so we're very excited to have our second 6-week Soaring Cardinals with us tonight, and it's going to be pre-K through second grade. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with second grade. So I'm going to start with Miss Whitney Norris's class, Jackson Hudson. He says Jackson is an excellent student. He's always helpful to his classmates, works hard in class, and is truly a pleasure to teach. Next we have in Miss Kim Epperson's class, Addison Cooper. She says Addison is a great student. She is a hard worker and always wants to do her best. She is always willing to help her friends with anything that is needed. She is an amazing second grader. Next we have in Miss Callie Jones's class, in first grade, is Briar Howe. She says Briar is an outstanding student. He is dependable and a hard worker. If I need something, he is my go-to. He is a great asset to our Cardinal family. Next we have in Miss Tony Carroll's class in first grade, Avi Herrera. She says Avi does what he's supposed to every day. He has a good attitude and he works hard. He's an overall great student. In Miss Turner's class, we have in kindergarten, Emmy Ponder. She says Emmy makes good choices, is always kind to others, and works hard every day. In Miss Cole's class in kindergarten, we have Harper McAnally. She says Harper is always a great example to others in class and outside of the classroom. She tries her very best in all she does here at school.
Oh, one more. One more.
In Ms. Haley Higgs' class in pre-K, we have Hadley Jones. Hadley is a hard worker, a great leader, and her kindness to others shines bright. And then in Ms. Pate's class in pre-K, we have Zelda Turner. She represents what it means to be a Soaring Cardinal. And she's very excited. And then last but not least, we have our staff member of the month, which is Miss Sharon Cott. She's the librarian for the elementary. And she does all the things that have to do with AR. I know you see all the bell ringers on Fridays on Facebook. She is the one who coordinates all of that. She makes sure everybody gets their picture and has all their prizes. There's many other things she does behind the scenes that we all don't know about, but she is a wonderful asset for us to have. So we are very glad to say you're the staff member of the month.
All right, to start it off, I'm going to start backwards a little bit. I'm going to start with my staff member of the month this month. He was selected by many of our students, which if you got to see Mr. Brown's video this month, they were all asking who's their favorite teacher in the middle school, and just about every single one of them was complimentary of Mr. Forgill. Mr. Wade Forgill is our student.
Cat's out of the bag.
No, I know. Yeah, his name is, he reads it this month.
Now, to talk actually about him a little bit, one of the things that I do get to go around and see all the teachers every day, I can tell you he is one of the most high energy guys you will ever get to have in a classroom, which is, I think, probably why they love him so much, because he matches their energy, which is hard to do.
They did some of him, I think.
You know, he started off teaching this year in a subject that he wasn't completely confident in himself with, but he's done an unbelievable job this year, and we are very proud to have him. Thank you, Coach. So what we've been doing is we've kind of every month kind of recognize an organization, and to go along with that, we have one of I hate to say my favorites, but it's probably one of my favorites organizations. Something that just really is something near and dear to my heart, just because I grew up in a construction-based family. I feel like it's something that every kid can learn a little bit of something from, and it's really cool to go down there and watch our kids. One of the people that is instrumental in that, and I'm going to have him probably bring his group up here, and he may want to say a word or two, but Mr. Barron grabs a kid from every area and finds what they're special at, and he finds a way to harness it and make it good for our group down there in the ag department. So Mr. Barron, if you'll come up, have your group off.
I think the thing I'm most proud of is the diversity we have. I think there's a lot of ag teachers that are a whole lot better ag teachers than me, and I know that, but I think I try very hard at finding something for every kid and making them a family, part of our family, the FFA family and the ag family, and it's kind of neat when you have second generation kids that are coming in, and a really great set of kids here tonight. Stephen, quick story about him, showed up. We went to the state convention this summer. He walks in. They have a little welding contest going. He goes over and welds, and we're driving off from the state convention, and a professor at the college, the welding college, calls him, and he won the contest. Of all the kids at the state convention, 60-something thousand, no, I think there was 13,000 kids there that day. I don't know how many of them went there and welded. Stephen went over there and welded at the contest. Didn't they have any of this stuff? We didn't know he was going to do it. And it was pretty cool to get that, you know. So I think we got kids that are learning how to weld. They're learning how to work and get jobs. Ryan, I tell stories about his uncles all the time. I love teaching his uncles and his cousin. And Ryan comes to work down there, and he gets in there and he loves to weld. I got one of the first groups I ever took fishing. This boy was with us, and he was so little now, I'm going to be honest with you, he fell asleep under his brother's pedestal. So I got to see him grow up and become a welder, and he fishes on the bass fishing team. You know, we won the local, there there was 100 and something teams here at Wright Packman, and we had kids that won that tournament, and we were very tickled. And the officers here, I've got 4 officers, 5, he's an officer too, that are here tonight. And you know, if you've worked at the school, you got to eat some corn. Probably got a turkey leg at some point this year. Got feed several times. It's having kids like this that makes my job a lot easier. And a lot of times people say, "Well, y'all got a good ag teacher." We ain't got a good ag teacher. We got good parents, and we got a good community, and we got good kids. And I don't care who's doing my job. It's pretty easy when you got kids that want to come down there and want to work and want to do stuff. I appreciate what they do, and I appreciate what the school board does, because I'm telling you, 2 weeks ago, I had an ag teacher from a local school call me and say, "Hey, I need something." He's got every bit of equipment we got, but they don't know how to run it. And he came to our school and said, in my shop, and my kids cut his stuff out for him so they could put up a sign going into their town that y'all will be going up for long that says, "Welcome to New Boston."
Hey, don't tell me, don't tell them who it is.
And my kids thought that was really good. Now, it hadn't all been easy, but my kids, they figured it out, they learned it, and I'm very proud of them. Guys, any of y'all want to say anything? Love you guys. Y'all should be really proud of me.
So, I figured, he probably called out most of them, but there's a few young ones in there that he didn't mention. Dax, raise your hand. So one of the young ones there that has gotten on the officer team, and there's a few more, but you know, he has stepped up and jumped right in, not been scared to get his hands dirty. That group of individuals right there, I can tell you that I got to go on the Dallas trip with them here recently, and not only did they do well on the projects, I'm happy and tickled pink about the project, but one of the most important things to me was every person or every group that we ran across just talked about how good of kids they were. Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Helped out other people loading or moving projects around. You know, when you get into competition, stuff like that, there gets a little bit of that, I don't know which of that competitive edge per se that gets a little carried away, and people kind of get rude at times, and you willed out and did not see that out of our kids. Our kids were willing to give a helping hand to everybody, and it is just amazing at watching our kids and how they behave and how they act and carry themselves. It is without a doubt something to be prideful for in our community to get to watch that. So you guys, thank y'all for being who you are. It's an honor. So with that being said, I know that we've recognized this group here, and we recognize the elementary group. We're about to go out and take pictures here in front of the crest. At that time or after that time, if you would like to come back, you're more than welcome. But after we take our picture, we are done for the evening. So, or as far as that side of it goes, for student recognition. Anything? Not on this. All right. Kylie, you want to lead them out?
Our next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any? Having none. Communications.
Nothing at this time, sir.
All right. Consent agenda. We got the minutes of the October 16th, the regular meeting of the board, the monthly financial report, renewal of the district's property, automobile liability, and privacy and information security insurance, the Texas Association of School Boards Risk Management Fund. Any board member have any item they want to discuss or pull from the consent agenda? We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Motion we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Rusty, we have a second.
All in favor?
Second by RJ. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Next item is, we're gonna go to number 8. Updates on the cafeteria and band hall renovation projects and new driveway project, WRA.
We're lucky tonight, we do have our WRA here, and we also have Ideal Construction. So I'm looking to provide some updates where we are to date and where we'll be in the next 30 days as we get ready to start building construction.
What would you like to say, kind of just speak here?
Wherever you're comfortable.
Always good?
That's right.
Thank you, board, for having us here, and thank you, Mr. Dr. Seegers, for having us here. We do want to give you an update on where we are. The 50% drawings have been sent out to the contractor last month, and he's been pricing it since then. So we got an estimate last week, and we've been kind of reviewing it, going through what we can do about it. So I would like to kind of give you a chance to kind of give an update on where we are, Mike, and then we can kind of talk about what else has happened since then.
Well, what we have done since they presented me with a 50% drawing, which at that point you understand they're 50%, so they're not complete. There's a lot of information that's not there. So what we do at this point is take that plan and do what we call a conceptual estimate. And what that entails is we go back to other projects that we have done or other projects that we have bid. And of course, everything you build is different. So we try to take the numbers from those projects and kind of insert them into this one and might raise them, might lower them depending on the comparison of the project or the size. So that does take quite a bit of time to get it all deciphered as far as what's going on in the project, what all items we need, what trades we need, what materials we need. So that's what I've been working on the last couple of weeks and taking those numbers, putting them together and adding them up. And so that's how we do this estimate this early. We did not actually go out to any subcontractors or any material suppliers because, and I really don't like doing that either because it tends to get you obligated to one person or one company. And what we're going to do eventually is when we have final plans, we'll put it out for competitive bidding for every trade. And that way you always get a better price at that point than what we're looking at now. So anything else you want me to share?
No, that's perfect. So that kind of sets us up. So our schedule for construction drawings and issuing construction drawings is going to be to issue them in 3 weeks on December 8th, I believe it is. That's when we're going to issue 100%. And then at that point, we're going to go out again for bid and pricing and all that. So the reaction I wanted to, that we had, I guess, in this last week, and based on the cost estimate, is that it is over than what our cost estimate or our bond had initially had it in that amount. So if I remember right, I'm going a little bit by memory, but the cafetorium has a all-in cost during the bond time was about $4.8 million, around there. And right now where we are for the cafetorium, 50% estimate is the all-in cost, I think, was around $6 million, if I remember right. So it's obviously a little bit higher. The renovation of the existing cafetorium to a band hall and classroom and restrooms is on target, on the budget. I think we had about 1.7 million all in, and we're about, or 1.8 million all in, and we're about 1.7 right now. So there's a little bit of wiggle room, probably puts us like right at that budget. So, and then the roads, we had 3 options on the roads. The drive that goes around the campus. We had a lot of different ways to look at that. We've got 3 different prices for that. There's a cost estimate for the new drive to the elementary school. That's one cost there. Another cost for the parking lot next to the elementary, and then another cost for the loop all the way around the campus. So those 3 are the ones that have. You have those numbers? I don't remember those. I think he sent those over today. And those are still, obviously, we're treating those as 2 separate projects. So the drive loop and all that, we know is coming out of fund balance, and that's going to be a separate project with a similar issue date, same issue date. And then the band hall and cafetorium are bond project dollars. That's what they're separate.
This is the base bid for the elementary drop-off.
So these are the base bid costs, so there's actually some soft costs, what we call soft costs, which includes like testing, and AE fees, architecture and engineering fees. There's other things that, you listed some of these in here, like testing and inspections, permitting
Yeah, the testing and inspections are included and also contingencies.
and contingencies.
Okay, if we run the bad dirt.
Yeah, so for the elementary drop-off, where we're at now is about 600,000. For the parking lot next to the elementary school is at about 610,000. And for the loop around the whole school, it's about 1.6 million. So that's kind of where we are. And these are based on 50% drawings again, so there's some things that are kind of changing on us. And what I mean by that is that since we've got all these cost estimates, we're looking at, okay, how do we get back into budget? How do we get back to where we need to be? And part of it is the band hall, for example. I keep saying band hall, the cafetorium. The way to get us back in budget, part of the way to get us back in budget is to not design a storm shelter. Now, the storm shelter is a requirement for, without getting too much into the weeds, there is a way in the 2015 code that we designed to build a building without doing a storm shelter. And part of it is to say to the whoever's reviewing the drawings that there's not going to be an increase in student capacity at the school with the new construction, therefore you don't need to provide a storm shelter. That's what the 2015 code. So our first call was to the city of Mott and asking them if there was a way for them to, or if they would interpret it that way, because most municipalities would. And what we found out is that Monday, in 3 days essentially, 4 days, they're going to be going to the 2018 code, 2018 International Building Code, which means that we don't have that leeway anymore. So on Monday, after Monday, we're going to submit after that date. So we're going to need to provide a storm shelter. So that way of reducing cost is not going to be there. What we just found out tonight on the way here actually was that the city has invited us to come to them to their city council meeting to express to the council members what this change would mean for the district. So if not building a storm shelter is a way that you guys would like to proceed to get this project under budget, or at least approach that. We're still, even doing this, we're not going to get under budget, so it does get us halfway there.
So what is the cost of this storm shelter?
So we're still looking at, there's a difference here, because if we reduce, if we change it to not be a storm shelter, we're probably saving around $400,000. And that alone, if we decide to, if the board decides not to pursue that, we can probably save about that much off of that budget. And conversely, on the other way around, if we need to meet 2018 codes, of course, we can't reduce the storm shelter, but 2018 also has additional requirements that we're still digging in as to how much that would add to construction costs. So by Monday, I think we're looking to find out how much impact that would have on the estimate. So there's kind of, we're in the middle of either going two different ways here. We can either reduce costs some by about $400,000, or we can potentially add costs. The city might require us to add costs to meet the 2018 codes. So that's kind of the situation we're in, and kind of the update we
So on the original projections, it was on the 2018 code or the 2015 code?
It was under 2015 code.
Okay.
You remember what the original projection was on the loop?
The original projection, I think we had at 1.5 million, if I remember right.
Closer
The
to
original was
1.2%.
about that, but it's grown quite a bit since.
Right, and the parking lot was added to that scope as well.
It's over 124,000 square feet at this point.
What else other than the storm shelter has caused the projection to go so much up on the cafeteria?
We're less than 6 months into this.
And I do, it just jumped quite a big, it's a pretty good jump. I'm just wondering what's the cause of that? Did we just misjudge it? Or did we, If something happened that I don't know of financially with cost of building that magically happened over the last 6 months, what's the deal? I'm just asking.
I'll see if I can answer that, but it's really, nobody knows is the basis of it. But, you know, you've got a lot of stuff information that you don't have to start with, and you're doing originally a lot of guesswork. And again, it was based on, when we talked originally, we were basing it on stuff that we had been working on, and this was over a year ago now. So, you know, that's part of it. Inflation is still going on, that's part of it. And then the size of the building might have grown a little bit from what we first anticipated. So you gather all these things up, and I'll tell you this too, I'm not anywhere near, these are 50% drawings, and I'm probably about 50% confident on what this price is. So the only way to really get to that, to get a real price, is to finish the drawings as best you can. Hopefully they'll allow you to not do the storm shelters, but and get it out for bid and see what it really takes. Because when you get competitive bids, it's going to get better than what it looks like right now. And
Do we have
that's the only thing I can do. This happens a lot. And what generally we do, once we get all the bids in from the final plans, we can do some, what we call value engineering at that point, to look for things that will not change the function of the building, but can be done less expensive.
And to that point, I mean, we can do a certain amount of that right now, but it's all guesswork until we get actual numbers, and that's what the actual value engineering process gets us, is we're actually, at that point, we're dealing with actual numbers, not our guesses or not Mike's guesses.
So, like, do you have like an idea what per square foot we're talking about spending?
For the building itself, I think we'll be about, was it 500?
So, yeah, it's a little over 500 at this point. Like I say, a lot of this is guesswork. It's not.
Okay.
Mike, what's been, and this is just came a while ago, in working this in the past and being in, you know, other situations like this, when you go out and get competitive bids, historically, how much percentage do you see under, or what was proposed?
Well, I tell you what, this has gotten a whole lot more difficult in the last 3 years. And you know why? And it's just been terrible. You can't guess at anything. If I'd have guessed at $400 a square foot 6 months ago, I'd have thought that was too high. But, I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say, Dr. Sears, because everything is different. Like I say, every building we build is different. It's not like we're building a Dollar General every 6 blocks out there, and they're all the same. So, you know, and I've spent the last 3 years basically working mostly on the school for Genoa Central down there. But they got lucky, theirs hit right before this pandemic. And it was $12.5 million, and our budget was within 2 or 3%. But I know the last one we did here has been a few years ago, and they were real close. But I mean, I think Robert will tell you too that everybody's having trouble budgeting these days because things change so much.
And during the bond planning process, we did account for inflation. We accounted for a 15% increase from that point to today. But it's a moving target every time. So we try and account for it as best we can without being obnoxious.
So probably close to a 20% increase. What's the risk from now till the time we get the hard costs of it being going that way again and being another 20% more when it comes back versus possibly being less?
Well, here we're about 3 weeks away, so there's less risk of it changing from
2 weeks away from you being done, but he ain't even broke ground yet.
Well, he still gotta get bids.
Yeah, right.
Once we take the bids, they're set in stone, right? They don't change unless you change them. So it doesn't matter when we start, it's the day you take the bids, that's it, that's the number. And we'll provide y'all with a guaranteed maximum price, which will not change, let's say, unless you unless you change something major. So, they're set in stone today with bid. And honestly, this time of year, anytime, if somebody's bidding something in November, there are a lot of price increases that come up in January, so they're gonna consider that in their bid. So if you bid about the middle of January, as we're thinking about, then that's all gonna be covered. And there's not gonna be any changes after that.
Mike, I mean, you're the professional at this, you've done it a long time, so I got a real stupid question. What's the guesswork? I mean, we got 4 walls in the building, I mean, we're not building a Wadley hospital, we're not building the technology center that's filled with everything, we got 4 walls, we don't have plumbing all over the place, we don't have I mean, I'm just, what is the guesswork that's driving $1.2 million extra?
Well,
Because I know you're trying to keep yourself safe, and I do respect that.
well, that's part of it. You gotta kind of cover yourself, and probably didn't cover it hard enough back last year. Because if we'd have come to you and said, well, it's worth $10 million, you'd said, we'll never pass that bond issue. It's not that we did that, but, we gave it our best effort at that time, at what we were seeing. And it's changed some. Of course, like I say, when you don't have all the information, I've always been that way. People ask me, what do you think it's gonna cost? Well, I really don't know. I can give you a ballpark. But until you know everything, you're just guessing. And it's not just 4 walls, there's a lot of stuff. The storm shelter stuff causes concrete walls. Well, that doesn't stop right there. That also increases the foundation cost. It increases the roof cost because you got a concrete roof. Or normally you would have a metal deck roof, and that's all. And then your membrane. So there's a lot of stuff, and of course when you add concrete, you're adding weight to the steel. So it's all just a big balloon.
I just thought we had it in there, storm shelter originally.
I thought so too.
Well, we discussed that at one point, down toward the end, best I remember, that you probably mentioned that to me. And at that point, we had a storm shelter under contract in Perryville, Arkansas, and it was at $400 per square foot. Now, I'll be honest with you, I never looked at those plans, I'm not involved in that job, but I don't know exactly what it was, but I asked the guy that was working on it the other day, and he said it's all precast. Concrete. So whether that makes any difference or not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the same. And that building was not built to the ICC 500 code, which is what this building is going to be built to, and it's required to be built to that code by code. So that would be a difference. It's not going to be the same as that. And again, back in last year during the bond planning, we accounted for a 50% increase, which put us at about, I think it was about 470, 480 square foot at the time. And obviously today we're in 500s, so that's where it's changed. But to your original question, to Mike, I think where has some of the increased costs from? Where has it come from? And a lot of it is especially in these last few years. I know you've had probably some other examples, but it's been aluminum has been increasing, concrete has been increasing, not to mention availability of hard to get. Steel, of course, has been increasing as well. So all those things have been fluid. I don't know if you've noticed any other things around here.
Well, it's just getting the availability of people is a little bit of it too. That's what you hear a lot from everybody. They're either too busy, so you've got to find people who are willing to work for us or who work for us all the time, and that's what we're looking for. And not just anybody off the street, because a lot of times, the simplicity of this building is not that simple. And I've always told another architect I worked with a lot, I said, if you keep it simple, people are going to bid it better than if there's something complex or something they haven't done much of it. They're either going to shy away from it or they're going to try to cover themselves. So, that's part of it. And this building is not that complicated, but the storm shelter part makes it complicated.
So is there a chance that the city's not going to pass this ordinance and that we would have that flexibility?
On Tuesday, when we talked with the city, it didn't sound like there was any chance because they needed to pass I didn't get into the reasons why they, when we didn't pass it before December came around, which obviously doesn't work for us. So, at that time, they were saying, well, no way, we gotta get it done by December 1. And again, in the email we just got, they said, well, if you guys want to come and make your case to the city council, they may listen to you, they may change their minds. So chance of passing it looked pretty low, or chance of maintaining 2015, or at least putting in some language specific to the storm shelter requirement. If they do pass 2018, they might have been something. You still see that was pretty low.
Did you talk to him?
We talked to the secretary. Do you have that, Jason? Vicky May. Is Vicky, Darla, yeah, three of them on call.
So Mike, I hear you say that we probably shouldn't get too excited till you come back with some bids. Is that kind of what I heard?
I think that will help. I mean, then we can quit guessing. You know, we're guessing all the time. And, you know, that's just the nature of our business, and we have to stick our neck out for that. But we have to make sure that everything's right. That's it. And if it comes back to $5.5 million or something on the last day, then, you know, obviously we've got to make some changes, or I don't know what you do after that as far as the funding issues concerned. I just build them.
So don't freak out.
Don't, we don't know until we know.
It's good to be cautious, I'd say. Just, I mean, we know that we're going to face a challenge, so it's just a matter of us being ready for it. And again, it's just like getting into the code in the city and what they would allow as part of it. So we're definitely looking at this as a whole.
I'll tell you this, they're supposed to have 90% set, I guess.
So yeah, next week, 90% tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start over when I get those. There'll be a lot more information. I'm gonna solicit some help from subcontractors and suppliers that are willing to help with the budget without being obligated. So that should tighten it up quite a bit. Once we get that number, then the final plans come out, we'll go ahead and get a bid. And we'll have the GMP at that point.
Okay.
That'll help. I know you're tired of guessing.
Yeah, I don't like guessing. I try not to, especially for the last 3 years. Like I said, it's been impossible, and anybody will tell you something.
Okay. We'll try not to get too excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Need a little break, or we're good?
Yeah, I was just wondering, I got Tony out, but I was doing.
I want a break, or we good?
I waited as long as I possibly could, sorry.
You're good though?
I'm good now.
All right. We'll go ahead and then move on with the amendment of the 23-24 budget, item number 7. I think they're getting that fired up.
We should do that.
Okay.
I mean, you tell me what to do.
No, sir. That's a good idea. Didn't realize he wasn't there. I thought he was just gonna make a drink.
He said, go ahead.
He said, go ahead. Okay, let's go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Before we look at the board, you have the updated amendment. This thing has changed several times this week, as you might imagine. And the first three items, the jet grant, the additional IT personnel, and the St. Michael check, really don't have anything to do with this building project. And the jet grant, the 52.4, is estimated to be our portion of that grant that we're gonna have to pay. We're gonna get $209,600 from the state, but we're gonna have to spend $260 and some change. And so 52.4 of that is gonna be our expense out of our general fund. We're budgeting half of the IT director's salary to be able to cover a second person, hopefully for the second semester, to train with our IT director. And then the St. Michael check is just simply putting into the budget the amount that St. Michael gave us for our school health supplies. So that's what those three items are. Then we get into a little bit more, we get into bigger numbers, certainly after that. But I want to kind of bring you to some of these numbers. These numbers are really where we are with our numbers that are at the auditor right now. And these are not final, but we've got revenue of 6.9, we've got expenditures of 5.9. We're estimating that we're going to add that to our fund balance for the year. The main reason I put this slide in here, though, when we calculate what fund balance we need to hold in reserve, we need the 3 months expense. So I divided this number by 12, multiplied by 3, and I get almost $1.5 million for 3 months expenses. We're now running about $500,000 a month in expenses, and about 80% of that, of course, is payroll, which is a rather fixed cost as we move along. Then on this screen, kind of get down to our existing fund balance, what would be available. Our total fund balance for our audit last year, 5.196. Then these four items right here, part of it were required, part of it is just a best conservative idea to have it in there. But the 98,892 is amounts that we have in federal funds that we've received by grants that we can't just haul off and do anything that we want to with. This 218,000 is the fund balance in our debt service fund. That's the amount of, I guess, overage that we have. Where we've collected taxes and paid the bonded indebtedness. And so we can't use that money for anything except to pay those bonds. Then we have this long-term debt. This number, you could say it's in excess of what it needs to be, but that's the number it would take to retire all the debt that we have that's not bonded. All the debt we have where we have not issued bonds. That includes a USDA loan, a QZAB loan, and then we have just a loan at Farmers Bank. I believe it's those three. But anyway, the total, if we had to pay them off today, would be $1,039,630. And, you know, to keep ourselves in good financial footing, having that in reserve to know we can get out from under those at any time we needed to is really a sound step in keeping us where we want to be. Then in that fund balance, there's $33,269 that is our student activity fund money, and we certainly don't want to spend that for anything other than student activities. So our net unrestricted, uncommitted money is 3.8. Our 3 months expense is 1.49. That leaves us 2.3 that we really could draw on for construction. is at 2.3. What we're gonna propose tonight puts $1.2 million of that 2.3 into the budget for the building. I understand that was the, kind of the original number, that you guys were working off of. And, that'll let us get to that point, and then you can make a decision over the next 60 days, really, if there's anything else you want to do with fund balance. But if we take 1.2 away from here, we'll have 1.1 roughly left. And, you know, I mean, obviously, we don't want to build too huge a reserve. We want to spend the money educating our kiddos. But also, I think it's up to me to be prudent and say we need some money back, because, you know, we don't know right now. I mean, they're going to vote on a bill in Austin tomorrow, and it's not going to pass. And we don't know what's going to happen to our funding. I don't think it's going to necessarily decrease, but I don't look for it to increase anytime soon. And so we need some reserve just to make sure that we're where we want to be. RJ, I can tell you got a question. You're raising your brow.
Is the long-term debt figured into that first slide where you had your revenue and expenditure?
No, that revenue and expense number right there,
Yeah.
that's the revenue we took in last year. That's everything we took in general fund. That doesn't count the tax on the INS fund. But that's everything we took in the general fund. Most of it is state money through our student allotment. Around, well, almost $6 million of it. And then the rest is just money that came from different places.
So that's not in the expenditures.
Sir?
So the bottom line, the expenditures at 5.9, does that include the $1.1 million that got the debt, long-term debt?
No, but that does include the payment, the annual payment on that $1 million worth of debt, which, and
Okay, that was my question.
Okay.
Your debt service is in there.
yes,
Okay.
an annual debt service.
Yeah.
Where the million number on the next slide
That's our balance.
would pay the whole thing off.
That's just pay off today.
Right.
Paid it off.
Right.
Do you happen to know if we can carry it to term, how much we're gonna pay over that? Or what's the
No,
projection
but
on that?
most of it is at an interest rate that you probably really don't want to pay it off. It's,
Operate a little different than probably most people do,
It's
like
at a
paying
pretty,
off all debt.
yeah, it's at a pretty small interest rate, and the payments on it are not large. I mean, I can calculate it and get
No, it's
back
not.
with you, but I can't just recite it.
That's less than what it would be though.
Yeah,
We'd save money.
oh, absolutely.
Well,
Typically, if your cash is making you more than the debt's costing you, you're pretty
Well,
much
yeah,
more
that's-
than the cash.
Yeah, that's one thing I mean, this debt cost us probably anywhere from 1.9 to 3.9, and we're drawing 5 and 5 plus. We're drawing 5 on the bond money, and right now we're drawing about 5.3 on our checking account.
It's a good day to be drawing interest.
Now, if interest rates fall on the checking account and we still have some excessive money, that perhaps would be the time
And we've done that in the past.
to look at what you're looking at there, would be feasible. But these are the revenue and the expense numbers. And keep in mind, expenditures are probably a little depressed because of ESSER funds. Probably actually has expenditures depressed. However, that's the number TEA is going to use when they calculate our 3 months that we need, and that's where I'm trying to stay. Yes.
Mr. Red, you used a good word earlier, you said prudent. So in your opinion, how many months operating expense do you think is prudent for us to maintain? We have to have the 3 months, but what's prudent?
I really would say 5 to 6 months.
It's kind of historically we have kept, right?
Yeah. Now we have kept some of it kind of under wraps where it didn't really show, but historically that's the kind of number that we've had.
Okay.
And again, I mean, it's just how close do you want to cut it, really? And personally, I like knowing there's plenty of money there. We write checks every week. We don't worry about what's in the bank when we write checks. We worry about the expense being approved. And there are some school districts that worry about what's in the bank before they write their checks. And, I don't want to be there.
No, and that was the reason I was asking you, because I've noticed, just with some quick numbers, you know, if you look at our debt coverage ratio right here, if you want to think of it in my world,
Yeah.
we're down to, if you put the expenditures into real numbers, I mean, we probably got 10 cents coming in for every dollar going out. So that number's shrinking every year. So that's the reason I think he was asking about how much do we need to keep. We don't want to go spend all our money because we can see that gap shrinking. And if we ever get to one to one, we in trouble.
Right. Well, and, again, just, you know, I've had to learn that schools operate a little bit different than other businesses, obviously. And, but the gap is closing. The gap is closing, and the gap's gonna close more if we don't get more funding. Because inflation is still hurting us. Our bill to Bowie County Schools, and not to bash Bowie County Schools, but our bill to them is higher every month than it was that same month the year before because of fuel prices being what they are. You know, our cost for anything, you know, copy papers outside.
Well, and that's what Ryan and I were talking about today, but that 952 can go away just like that.
Yes. And for this fiscal year, that 952 is gonna be non-existent.
That's right.
And the years, I'm in my 5th year now. More time flies when you're having fun. But prior to this year, we've run probably 250 to 350 that we put into fund balance. So that's probably where you're going back for 24. And that's if we can really keep the screws on some expenses. And so whatever you take out, we're not going to get back
It's gonna take a long
very,
time.
very fast. And it took people before me to build this fund balance to where it is. You know, I love to brag on the fund balance when I present it, but a lot of that was sitting there when I arrived.
Well, when you're only bringing in 10 or 12 cents, like I said, for every dollar, it's a long time to add up.
That's right.
And once you spend it, it's gone.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I admire you for that. Nobody wants to follow the man that wasn't me. He followed me and went. His band there was really good though.
But anyway, that brings, let me go the other way. Back to this screen, the 2.6, I mean I wanted to let that kind of set with you, and y'all, I mean, it's your call. It's your call.
One thing I think we always have,
Honest opinion, what you think that needs to be there, and I think I heard it.
one thing we always have to keep in mind here, that our community, the majority of the people that live in this community are employed at Red River Army Depot. And the security out there is not what it used to be.
Right.
If something was to happen at that depot, it could be a devastating impact to our tax base.
Well, it could be a devastating impact on our attendance too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The good thing about our tax base is we don't make any money off of it anyways.
The
I mean, all of our money's coming from the students.
Yeah, our tax base is.
So, I mean, that's kind of my opinion there. I still think we need to keep more money in it than 1.4 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a firm believer. I'm just saying, we're gonna be operating off how many students we have. If we lose a bunch of students, we could be in real trouble.
Yeah, and that's a chance, that's a risk if the jobs go away.
People quit having
That's the one to be at
kids.
the bare minimum. Yeah.
Right, we're gonna run out of Baileys and Lambs and.
More years.
Keep
Well,
all
that
the
was
kids.
my point.
And kind of like your thing, you're not owing to anybody if you don't have debt.
Well, I know I'm probably a little different, but if you don't owe any money and everything falls out, you're okay. But you still gotta batten down the hatches, you lay some bucks on it, go on to what you do.
You still gotta pay salaries.
Right, you still got your salary. I mean,
But if you owe nobody anything,
Yeah, of course, our total debt, I mean, that's a significant number. I'm not trying to make light of it, but our debt service is a very small number. And so, otherwise, I mean, if our debt service was $200,000 or $300,000 a year, I'd be more concerned about dealing with that number, but it's barely half that. And so, to have that hanging there is not such a millstone around our necks.
It's not, no, it's not.
But again, I would agree, if bank rates drop, we should look at, I mean, we have the money reserved. We could just go pay it off.
Not if we use it for construction.
Then this is I put just the bond portion, the building portion of the budget amendment up on the screen. You've got it on your sheets, it's down at the bottom of your sheet. But what this is showing at the top, this is moving $1.2 million out of the general fund. This is hitting our budget number here, and then this is an account code for transfer out. So we're gonna show we're transferring that $1.2 million out of the general fund. Then when we get down here, we'll work from the bottom up. I should have done this backwards, but right here, we're showing this is a transfer in, that code is. You won't hardly ever see 7 and 8 codes on our financial statements, but you're gonna see them right now while we're working on this. But that's a transfer in to our construction fund of the $1.2 million. And we're just budgeting it for general construction expenses at the moment. Then up here, I'm putting in the $6.5 million that we sold the bonds for. This is a ultra conservative number, $100,000 for interest income on the bond money. It's going to be significantly greater than that, and particularly as long as we keep putting this thing off, it's going to really get greater than that. Then I've got $300,000, and that's not enough for the architects, consultants, things of that nature. And then 6.3 million stuck down here just in general construction. We're going to have to move some of these numbers around as we go forward.
The architect's $300,000.
Actually, more than that.
But they still ain't got our plans done. I want to screw it up. I'm glad they're recording. I'll be here.
Why can't I get that off design of the sign?
What's that? Why can I get that to design a sign?
Well, maybe you just need to try. I don't know.
Might do it. My drawings need to look better than my signs.
Yeah.
Cost won't be accurate.
I'm getting it now. I'm starting to.
Okay, anybody have any other questions?
No.
I don't want to just pour water on the whole thing. But
I appreciate you being conservative.
I want you to see where you are.
Maybe I misunderstood, but didn't I hear if we put in $1 million, the statement might said somewhere down the road, it didn't?
That was already in this, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the third
It's just
class.
dollar for dollar. Right?
That close, I think.
Which one is it, closer?
Dollar for dollar.
Doesn't matter anymore, 476.
Right, it's how much your taxes are
Yeah, it has to
paid.
do with the tax base.
Yeah.
It's a number. It'd take me a while to calculate it.
I'm not,
I'm in the wrong world.
I've been in the wrong world. 20 years in the wrong world.
Mr. Sears, do you want more?
Any other questions for Mr. Van Duer? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great. Information items, principal's court.
I need you to approve the amendment.
Oh, we weren't just talking about that?
What we were just talking about.
All right. Do we have a motion to amend the 23-24 budget as presented?
I'll make a motion to amend it.
Motion by Aaron, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Give that to Ryan.
I'm the only one that didn't talk.
All right, now we're to information items? Yes, sir. All right, information items, principals report, athletic director report. I was just so looking forward to hearing y'all.
Okay, so you have you have my board report in front of you. You can look at the enrollment this year versus last year. We're up actually 3 students at the elementary at the current time. You can also look at the attendance percentage. We're actually up quite a bit in the percentage of attendance, so that's great. We were at 93 and now we're at 95, almost 96, 95.82. So Do y'all have any questions about that? Okay. And then we have our students that we recognize today, and then Miss Kite as well, our librarian. And then flipping over to the spotlights, some things that are going on. We went and saw Charlie Brown You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, sorry. We went and saw You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown at Redwater as a performance. The whole elementary, pre-K through 5th grade went and watched them. And then we had our Veterans Day celebration, and our students sang God Bless America and did some sign language. And then our little ones sang See the Veterans. And we just wanted to give, and our leadership kids did the pledges and read a poem. And so I wanted to give a big shout out to Ms. Crystal and Mr. Fannin. They worked a lot with our kids to make sure that they knew exactly what to do, and they were very proud of how it turned out, so that's awesome.
It was a very good ceremony.
Yes, I thought it was fantastic. And I was very proud of how they acted during the ceremony too. Like, everybody was quiet and, respectful, and they did a great job at that. So then we had our senior citizen luncheon today, and I'm sorry, we were so busy we didn't even snap a picture. So there's not a picture on there, but the senior citizen luncheon went well today. We had our senior citizens come and eat, and then our leadership kids helped serve along with some of the high school and middle school, and they all did a great job. The kids came in and ate while they were in there, and so they did a really good job of being well behaved and stuff as well during that time. And of course, the senior citizens love getting to see the kids and what they do. And Dr. Seegers revved them up a little bit, have them all tell everybody Happy Thanksgiving. So there you go.
Kept the audience in a microphone.
That's it. And then there's a picture of Miss Wyndham's class, just kind of in a little excerpt of, what we do every day, but they're learning about the unit is light and sound in our Amplify curriculum, and so the students were making predictions and did a little experiment to see if their predictions were correct. So that's part of our new reading curriculum as well. So, and then our upcoming events, everybody's looking very forward to Thanksgiving break. And that's next week. We have elementary fall retake pictures when we come back. We have Kona Ice when we come back. And then our UIL day, which everybody's preparing for all the time. So we've got UIL practice, and that will be on December the 13th will be the actual competition. And Kona Ice will also come that day. And then we have Senior for Cardinals in December, where our elementary is going to present. And then we also have a talent showcase coming up. That's going to be new for the elementary. It's going to be 3rd through 5th graders are able to participate. Their forms were due yesterday, and so then we'll start. Miss Stiggins and Miss Hedgens are kind of watching and making sure so we know what people are doing for this particular showcase. And then we will have a time where they will actually get to do it, and then we'll have a part for the community to come and see as well. So. And then we have our holiday staff luncheon and Christmas parties and teacher prep day. So that's looking like the end of the semester. Yes. Woo, fast and furious.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
I'll be interested to previews of the talent show.
Well, this is how I hit most of everything, the things that are coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and start working backwards from there. The only thing that we have really different from her, or added to her, is that we have, of course, Thanksgiving break, but we have Leadwell Tour coming up on December the 6th, where we're going to take some of our kids down to Leadwell, show, introduce our kids to them, vice versa, because they like to try to get a lot of our kids at least summer employment, and also hired after they graduate. Also, one of the things that we have coming up, we have our Christmas concert by the band on December the 7th. However, we just found out Mr. Fannin is going to have to take his dad for open heart surgery a couple days before that. So we may have to move that from the 7th to the 14th. So that's something that's been on our calendar that you may see get moved, and we'll make sure that that gets put out to everyone on social media, calendars, everything else, if that becomes the case. Going back to the top, middle school attendance, we're steady, been pretty steady the last couple months. Numbers wise, we're still down from where we were last year in the middle school, but we're up in the high school, so it's kind of balanced out there. A couple of things that we had going on. We had our drug-free rally. Recently, Dr. Young, the Secretary of Emergency Center, came up, talked to the kids about the effects of vaping on them, talked about popcorn lungs and how they'll have holes in them and things like that, how it affects them. Just even at a young age, we all think that we're all going to recover. He kind of showed them that it is a long-term effect. It is not something you're going to recover from. So we were pretty fired up to have him come and do that for us. Students in the middle school, high school, also were presented with an healthy emotional relationships and bully prevention from Shannon Knoll, who is with the Domestic Violence Prevention Agency. She covered it with every group that we have, just because you never know. Yes, middle school, we're talking about friendships and friends, but even in the high school, we start talking about boyfriend, girlfriend, things like that, things that they are more interested in. Talking about those kinds of things. And of course, Mr. R.J. Norris with Commercial National Bank.
Cadence Bank, not
Sorry,
Commercial National.
sorry. Cadence
Commercial
Bank.
National Bank came to cook for y'all.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm sorry.
That's one.
They should could, that's right, they could. They came to talk to the seniors about their financial futures. Then we have had a steady flow of recruiters come up. University of Arkansas came in, SFA came in, Northwestern State out of Tahlequah showed up. That was a new one for us. We were kind of fired up to get them there. Just different programs, and Oklahoma is opening the doors big time for a lot of college deals right now. So trying to take advantage of some of that. Of course, we wanted to get Texarkana here just because they are close, local, and a lot of our kids have easy access to them. They really open the doors for our kids along with TC. They'll even help us with our kids with financial aid, making sure they fill out the financial aid correctly, all kinds of different things. And then you see there, our staff had a little Halloween fun there at the secondary. We decided to be Monsters, Inc. So it was
Do you own that suit, or did you?
I actually did have my wife go buy that for me for whatever reason, I do not know.
You were rocking it.
Yeah, I bet I was. I'm definitely big and heavy, so it kind of fit well. Any questions on any of that stuff?
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're in between seasons, so it's pretty lengthy here. Volleyball finished third, I think first time in school history, and that's the highest they've had. Their by-district qualifiers. I didn't put it on there, but I'm gonna read off who did what in the all-district as far as volleyball. Coach Forga put out a pretty good, whatever you want to call this, Facebook post. There you go. All right, co-MVP Saturday was Bayla White, so that was a superlative. First team all-district was Mallory Bishop and Kiera Montemog. Second team all-district was Mackenzie Bishop and Casey Pickering. Honorable mention was Cadence Inslee, Brooklyn Osborne, Sam Barnett, and Lillian Birthright. Academic all-district was Cadence Inslee, Casey Pickering, Mallory Bishop, Bayla White, Mackenzie Bishop, Sam Barnett, Lillian Birthright, and Brooklyn Henderson, our manager, was also academic all-district. So girls had a good year, really proud of them. Junior high volleyball, both A and B teams finished as district champs. I think the A team lost one game all year in district play, so that was a good year for them. Girls cross-country team qualified for the regional meet and went and ran at Grand Prairie. Football finished second. We're 5-5 overall, 4-1 district play and by-district qualifiers. Junior high football finished 4-3-1 on the year. Girls basketball is now 3-0. They won tonight. They won their first game in the tournament today. They're currently in the New Diana tournament where they're playing 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and 2 on Saturday. Their first home game will be next Tuesday, the 21st at 12 o'clock. And boys basketball started off 1-0 today. They beat New Diana in the Union Grove tournament where they're at this weekend. Their first home game will be the next Tuesday, November the 28th at 5 o'clock versus Saltillo. Girls junior high basketball started the year Monday with a win over Clarksville. The boys got beat. They played pretty well, just happened. Powerlifting, Belford's favorite. He's going to volunteer to help out with his 2 meets this year. We're hosting 2 meets again. on February the 1st, February 15th, a little different than before. Usually that last meet is a last chance meet for boys only, because that date fell during our spring break, no, winter break. We have moved it up, and it's going to be a girls' last chance qualifier and a boys, so we'll have both boys and girls at that meet. Golf started practice. They're practicing kind of around some of the other stuff. But we have good participation. Got a couple of young kids that are getting into it. That's going to help us out and prolong that, us being able to, to field a team and all that kind of stuff. And so really excited about that. Kara's got them out there working, boys and girls. And then general athletics, baseball and softball fields have been seeded and fertilized. And Mr. Doyle is, as we speak, working on getting grass out of the infields and whatnot. And I actually think we're probably ahead of schedule for where we've been as far as them being playable earlier. So really in pretty good shape as far as athletic facilities.
Thank you. This item is item 10, discuss, consider update to DEC local policy.
Mr. President, this came about from TASB, and I think it's really as a result of the SROs that are in schools now, building out a policy to match with whatever the district decides. When I talked to the chief, and we have a police policy for our school police force, and what this does is it allows us to align our DEC local with the policy that's in our police force policy for leave. And so it amends on page 3 of that policy, amends, it takes out peace officers and puts in mental health leave. The recommendation, the original pass with TASB was to change that from 3 to 10. Upon second looking at that with Chief again, I want to ask the board to amend that to 11, and we'll get with TASB to change that piece. In the local policy for our SRO office, they get 5 days of mental health leave. They can ask for a second 3 additional days and another 3 additional days for a total of 11 days according to the police policy. What this does, it allows and this is only looking at peace officers, up to 11 days leave for mental health reasons. And that aligns board policy with the policy of the police departments.
Any questions or discussion? Do we have a motion to update the DEC local policy? Motion by Terry, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ryan, all in favor? Right hand. Unanimous. Consider and approve updated MISD board goals.
Aaron, you fully understand that? You fully understand that? Always good. Always.
All right. Board, this is the outcome of our team of 8 training. And so, and you should have those in front of you as well. But I figured it might be difficult to see on the screen. Yeah, well, the clicker doesn't do much. Doesn't do this.
There it is. Well enough.
I reckon the neat part about this was, if you remember, we actually split into 2 groups, chose our goals in 2 separate groups, which is sometimes what's fixing to happen in the room. But it was remarkable that when we came back together, both groups had the same goals. So I don't know if that will ever happen again.
About 4 times before.
They cheated. We were done 15 minutes before y'all.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not the way cheating works.
And so, did re-smith them just a little bit for what was originally sent out to you. Goal 1 was to instill community values while providing excellent educational experiences that enable our students to thrive after graduation. So just, we're here to get kids ready for the life after school. So we want them to thrive during that time. Goal 2, hire and retain qualified staff members who share and model community values. Again, straightforward. We want to make sure we continue promote the ideas of mod. It's a great place to be, and we want our kids to have that opportunity. Goal 3, provide multiple opportunities for student engagement in curricular and extracurricular programs to produce fruitful, active, and democratic citizens. And so, again, building back to that life after high school. Goal 4, lead the area providing safe and secure learning environment. And then goal 5, provide quality district facilities and educational experiences while being physically responsible. So that's the draft board. See language there that we need to address, we can do that. That really shapes us out for what are the big ideas that our board of directors wants to see accomplished in a year. And so, any questions on that?
Sounds like we're
Pretty well worked. So then I'll make a recommendation that we adopt those as board goals.
Do we have a motion to approve the updated MISD board goals?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Aaron, we have a second?
Second.
Second by RJ, all in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous?
Board goals. In fact, the next piece is our strategic planning document, and if you remember, our presenter asked about that piece, we looked at it. This is not, you're not taking action on this tonight. And, excuse me, I jumped ahead of you, Mr. President. This would prevent the board that it is part of that.
You good?
Go ahead. Okay. So we're not taking action. This is just updates on where we are. The one thing that he did recommend us to do is come back and look at our vision statement. And so I went back into our original vision statement and tried to pull out the words that really captured that statement. And responsible, democratic, lifelong learners. If you read through that document, that's the premise of it. That's what it's looking for. And so, creating responsible, democratic, lifelong learners seems to sum up that original statement and not get away from what Maud envisioned when that was put out there. So a little easier to look at the handle, a lot easier to recite to somebody down the road. The mission statement is exactly the same as it is on the wall. There's no change from that piece right there. And then really just looking at our goals and how they fit into these pieces here. So our strategic priorities, high academic achievement for all students. That really frames out what we look at when we start looking at district goals for planning, with the one that we do each year in the summer. So again, that first goal comes back in right here. You see how it relates. And then our House Bill 3 goals that the board has already adopted, and those are a part of our governance pieces now. So those would fall underneath this goal here that you just adopted. So you kind of see how those pieces relate together. Coming down, recruit and retain high quality staff, the goal you just adopted. It's in here. Operational excellence, our goal 3, providing multiple aid, again, word for word the same as goal 3 earlier. Safety, and then quality finances. So this piece right here will be, it's a living piece, so we'll come out, you've given us the goals to work with. We'll go back to the administrative team. We'll put together the performance measures that go with that to accomplish it. We'll bring those back to y'all for adopting. And then we'll fill in this piece as it goes as well. So that's kind of the progression of that strategic planning document so that we capture not only what we feel is the mission and vision of the district, but how we plan to accomplish that piece going forward. Any questions on that? Okay.
No more action is to be taken?
There's no action on that, no, sir. It's not ready for action.
All right, superintendent's report.
Okay, so that was, I jumped ahead of you there, so that was, I apologize for that. Mid-year employee retention stipend, those are set to go out tomorrow. And so all of our employees will be getting that retention stipend on their November check. Very much appreciated across the board. Amen. The employee holiday luncheon dinner is December the 19th. Ms. Howell, y'all start at 10:45, is that right?
Yes. Pre-K starts at 10:45.
And we'll be in this room, Ms. Holly, and who's our caterer this year?
It is gonna be Main Street.
It'll be a good one, so if you can be here for that one, it's an opportunity to serve and, you know, enjoy a meal with our staff. I know they would greatly appreciate it. But that is December the 19th. And I just put 10:45 as a start time, and it runs from 10:45 to about 1 o'clock. So it's how they all run through. Or you can come and eat about 3 meals with us. The next one is our NTSBA Fall Legislative Update Dinner. It is at Region 8. It's on December the 7th from 6 to 9. So let's say if you want to meet here, we can leave here about 4:45, give us plenty of time to get there. And you won't be able to be here. So if you can't, let me know, and we'll flush that out in the next week and a half. So, but it's a 3-hour ordeal. I do think it's going to be.
It's already on the calendar.
Going to be a good piece. Maybe we'll learn something from the outcome of tomorrow and the next couple of days. I don't expect much to change.
The food's okay, but the legislative update is while we go.
That's right, exactly.
Other than that, Mr. President, that's all for Superintendent's report.
Thanks, sir. We'll be going into executive session at 7:52 p.m. We'll go into executive session because personnel, according to Texas Government Code Section 5501.074, discussion of personnel. We'll go into executive session. We're coming back in open session at 8:45 p.m. Next item on the agenda is to cast votes ballot resolution for the Bowie Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2024-2025. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we put all 30 of our available votes to Mike Carter.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I'm just gonna abstain.
Okay. 6-4, 1 abstention. Aaron Breyer. It passes. Next item on the agenda is adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor? I'm going to abstain.
You can stay as long as you want, brother.
We're going to adjourn.